tough news out of Northeast D.C. A 13-year-old boy shot and killed. It happened around 4 this morning on Quincy Street off Michigan Avenue. This is what we know. A man in a nearby home told police he saw the teen tampering with cars and confronted him. During that confrontation, the man says he fired his gun, striking 13-year-old Karon Blake of Northeast. Police say the man provided CPR to the teen until first responders arrived. The boy was then taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. D.C. homicide detectives are working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to determine what happened and whether that homeowner will face any charges.
Tonight, the family of 13-year-old Karon Blake is grieving his death, while people in the neighborhood where he was shot by an adult are demanding answers.
He had a very high spirit. He was definitely one of the young men who was cheering everybody on, keeping everybody energetic.
Ebony Purvis's son played football with Karon. Teachers describe him as smart and inquisitive, a 7th grader with a lot of potential and a love for books.
If there was any problems, I definitely didn't see any. He definitely had a warm spirit and very energetic.
Around 4 a.m. Saturday, in the shadow of the National Shrine, police say a man who lives here on Quincy Street Northeast told them he saw Karon breaking into cars and confronted him, and after some kind of an interaction, shot him. When police arrived, they say the man was giving Karon CPR, but they could not save him.
The situation didn't warrant him to be shot. Serious questions should be brought up. It should be asked.
Yeah, we're all kind of upset and just scared. Of course, we just don't know all the facts yet, so it's hard to say whether or not it's justified. Based on what we know now, it doesn't seem that way.
Police have not announced an arrest or any charges or said anything more about what led up to the shooting. Ward 5 council member Zachary Parker said in a statement, no car or material possession is worth a life under any circumstances, and called on MPD and the U.S. Attorney's Office to, quote, hold accountable the individual who took Karon's life. On Tuesday night, Councilmember Parker will bring together representatives from MPD and people from the neighborhood here at the community center, just across the street from where this happened, to try to get them answers to questions he knows they have about this young man's death.
Sad, depressed, and mad, because this should never happen like this.
Tonight, Sean Long says he and his family fear they will never get justice for the death of his grandson, 13-year-old Karon Blake. Early Saturday, around 4 a.m., police say a man who lives on this block of Quincy Street Northeast confronted the 7th grader for allegedly breaking into cars. After what police describe as an interaction, the man shot and killed Karon. Police say they have no evidence Karon was armed.
13 years old, you shouldn't be outside. You shouldn't be outside. Man, they right. You shouldn't be outside. But that don't give you the right to kill nobody.
Police have not released the name of the man who shot Karon and say the investigation is ongoing. Tonight, in the neighborhood where Karon was killed, flyers are posted that say, we have compiled the names and identities of all homeowners on the street, and we intend to be able to identify Karon's murderer. D.C.'s police chief says that is only making the situation more dangerous.
People are making assumptions and searching for people that are not involved. People are making allegations centered around race, and that is wrong.
Y'all lock us up first, and then y'all worry about everything else later. We gotta pay for lawyers, we gotta fight for our case, fight for our life. Make that man do the same thing. Put that in the jury hang.
Just 3 days after the shooting of Karon Blake, many D.C. residents remain frustrated by an absence of answers.
Our office has fielded many questions, calls, emails, concerns.
Ward 5 Councilmember Zachary Parker organized this meeting to inform residents the best he could, but much of what was said still did not satisfy this crowd. Instead, locals had even more questions. Karon's grandfather wanted to know how such a shooting could even be deemed legal.
I'm black. If I would have killed the white boy on that street, they would have put me under the jail.
People here also wanted to know who pulled the trigger.
I don't understand why y'all are protecting his name and saying it's going to breach the investigation.
This ain't Tampa, Florida. This is Washington, D.C. And who killed Karon Blake is a black George Zimmerman.
But police quickly responded they could not say.
We're not releasing the name at this time because this is an active criminal investigation. If there were circumstances where we needed the public's help and helping, their help to Identify the individual, of course, absolutely. We probably put pictures out.
All those open questions ultimately led some people to even question MPD's effort so far.
The shooter, a D.C. government employee. I've seen that somewhere.
Yes.
The shooter is.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not going to say what agency. I can tell you the employee, like in other cases where we've had an employee accused or charged, that employee is on administrative leave.
Do with public safety? Is this employee in the public safety? We asked if he was a police officer. He's not in public safety.
No.
But he is on administrative leave right now in the city government?
Yes.
Do you know him?
I don't. I believe so. Thank you.
We're waiting to learn the name of the D.C. government employee who shot and killed a 13-year-old boy in Northeast D.C. It's been 6 days since Karon Blake was killed. Police say the man allegedly saw Karon breaking into cars and shot him multiple times. That employee is now on administrative leave, paid administrative leave. He has not been charged as of right now. So what are police looking into at this moment? They say the man had some kind of, quote, interaction with Karon Blake before shooting him multiple times. So what led to this so-called interaction? I spoke with a local firearms instructor who says that moment is key.
It's always going to depend on your intent and then your justification.
In this handbook provided to firearms instructors in D.C., they remind those who have legally registered firearms that D.C. case law has established middle ground, meaning you should take reasonable steps, such as stepping back or walking away, to avoid the necessity of taking a human life. At the same time, it explains you do not have to retreat or consider retreating when you actually believe that you're in danger of death or serious bodily harm. But it gets more complicated. The guide states generally you may not use deadly force to protect your property.
I don't know if his car been broken into a couple of times or whatever, but under no circumstances should you ever shoot to take someone's life or injure someone over property. That's what insurance is for. Call the police.
The guide from D.C. Police also suggests if you're the aggressor, self-defense cannot be claimed if you deliberately put yourself in a position that will provoke trouble.
I would never engage an individual because I'm putting myself in harm's way. I don't know if it's one person, if there's a lookout.
So did Karon approach the gunman who was checking on his car, or did the gunman go after the teen? Now it's only the gunman's words. That's why investigators are asking for witnesses to come forward and for video to see how this all played out.
On one of the coldest nights of this young new year,
Justice for Karon! Justice for Karon!
D.C. residents march, a group saddened over Karon Blake's fate.
This should have went a total different way.
And angry about the police response.
We want to know what happened, not just one side of the story.
Mothers, fathers, kids, neighbors, all in search of answers here. They want to know who shot Karon Blake and why he hasn't been identified.
And they're giving this man all kind of time to make up a story.
Their push for transparency echoes in the halls of the Wilson Building 2. Thursday, Ward 2 Councilmember Brooke Pinto, who chairs the council's Judiciary Committee, requested to see police body camera footage of the incident. MPD said yes the same day. She tweeted she's in ongoing conversations with MPD to ensure proper procedures are followed in determining if and when additional information about the shooting can be made public. In the meantime, this crowd
Justice for Karon!
plans to keep fighting to learn more about what happened to 13-year-old Karon Blake.
But we're going to do all we can to show that we love you.
The neighborhood that saw Karon Blake grow up is mourning his absence.
I'm just grateful that everybody is here to celebrate Karon, and that's my baby.
Family, friends, and community members held a vigil in Northeast D.C. 1 week after the 13-year-old was shot and killed on the 1000 block of Quincy Street.
My aunt had called me, just hearing that my brother got shot.
Karon's younger siblings still processing the pain of losing their older brother.
I don't want to keep waking up knowing that my brother's not here with me no more. I don't. It hurts. It really hurts. I don't want to keep waking up doing this. I don't.
I'm Karon's sister, and one thing that I like about him that he always makes me laugh, and I'm really proud of him.
Police say that a resident shot Blake after allegedly seeing the boy tampering with cars nearby. Mayor Muriel Bowser has revealed that the shooter is a D.C. government employee that is now on paid administrative leave. But his identity has yet to be revealed, and he has not been charged.
I literally just saw him like 2 days before the news happened.
This community is still struggling as they deal with the loss amid so many unanswered questions.
You just don't know how to really deal with it.
Blake's friends and classmates among those hit the hardest by the death of their friend Karon.
He will always show up to school and make everybody happy. But I just can't believe he gone, because I would never see him again.
In Northeast DC, Rafael Sanchez Cruz, WUSA9.
Strength through sorrow, a portion of the service shared with us.
To gaze upon your glory and sing to you this song. Please take me to the King.
He was just such a beautiful baby. Family, friends, teachers, and community members gathered at Israel Baptist Church to say goodbye. Karon Blake's farewell service just 1 mile from the Brookland neighborhood where the 13-year-old was shot and killed.
My son is married to Karon's grandmother.
Karen Christian stopped to talk to us.
London is very strong. The family is strong.
The shooting stirred emotions and outrage in the community, folks demanding justice and answers. Why a D.C. government employee and legal gun owner would leave his house to confront a boy he thought was breaking into cars. The man had a gun. Karon was unarmed. It was 4 a.m.
They can't place blame on the mother because I know she loved her son. I know she took good care of her son. He's a kid. I mean, kids sneak out the house all the time. I just really feel bad for all of these kids in this community because it seems like they all knew him. That place is packed. There are so many kids in there.
And I knew how few of them are going to get help for that mental trauma.
Both council members at large, Robert White.
To be inside of that church today with that sight of those young kids is deeply distressful.
And Kenyon McDuffie attended the funeral, pledging for more resources before and after school activities and support for families who need it most.
Regardless of the outcome of the investigation or any charges against the shooter, we know what we are called to do for young people right now. Address mental health and have things for them to do.
Anytime that a 13-year-old is shot and killed in the District of Columbia, there is a failure somewhere in the system that allowed that to happen.
Love on your children, because this is hard.
In Brookland, Delia Gonzalez, WUSA9.
A father of 4 and D.C. government employee is behind bars for the murder of this young boy here, 13-year-old Karon Blake. About 2.5 hours ago, we just got an update from police about this case, and a judge also denied this man, Jason Lewis, who's charged with his murder, denied him bail. Tonight, he's charged with second-degree murder after turning himself in earlier this morning. Our Delia Gonzalez is all over this story tonight. She joins us live from outside of that courthouse. Indeed, we know that the community had been begging for details and answers in this case for weeks now. We finally got a lot of those details today, and many of them are truly heartbreaking.
Certainly so. The judge even said that this is exceptionally concerning, the facts of this case. Jason Lewis stood before the judge, handcuffed, wearing a white button-down shirt. He pled not guilty, but she repeatedly said that the government is likely to win its case against him. The judge went on to describe Mr. Lewis as the first aggressor and says he loses his right to self-defense.
The investigation took the amount of time that it needed to take so that we would be at this point.
We're getting our first look at images from surveillance cameras that helped police and prosecutors build their case against Jason Lewis, a 41-year-old father of 4 and 18-year employee of the Department of Parks and Recreation. This stolen Kia pulls into the 1000 block of Quincy Street just after 3:30 a.m. January 7th. 3 young men step out. Police say video shows them trying to break into parked cars. Lewis says the noises wake him up, and he thinks someone's breaking into his home. His Blink camera showing him armed with a gun, stepping out onto his front patio. He yells at the kids. At this point, 2 are in the car. Karon is a ways away. That's when this image shows Lewis extending his arm to fire a single shot towards that car. Police say Lewis never told them about that when he was interviewed.
That is problematic for me.
After that first shot, prosecutors say Karon started running. This red arrow on this surveillance image shows Karon heading towards Lewis's house. The defense attorney argues Lewis at that point felt threatened. According to court records, Lewis pulled the trigger 3 more times at the running child, who pleads with him repeatedly, saying, "I'm a kid. I'm only 12. I'm sorry. Please don't."
So whether, Karon knew or didn't know, that a person was standing there with a gun who he was running at, or running at a full sprint, maybe Mr. Lewis felt threatened at that point. I mean, I don't know. I can only speculate there, but I think that where things really unravel, it was just the initial shot that was fired.
And that first shot that was fired really dominated the discussion today in court. The defense attorney says Lewis only had one gun, and that has been confiscated. Police, they say they will revoke his concealed carry license. Lewis is back in court February 13th. But Zoe, before I go, I do want to mention one thing that the police chief talked about, and this is our kids who are clearly in crisis and the trauma that is surrounding this whole case. He spoke specifically about the 2 other young men who were in that getaway car. He says, "I don't want to talk about charges. The Attorney General can think about that since they are juveniles. But I'm concerned about these young people being in a stolen car at that time of night. What were they doing? They are clearly in trouble," he says. And the chief says, "I want to make sure they get the help they need to get off the streets and to turn their lives around." So
that is so critical. Of course, we are thinking of Karon Blake's family tonight. And yeah, as you mentioned, those 2 kids who were with him that night, hopefully, as the chief mentioned, they are getting the help they need.